Hey guys, it's Brian. So today I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what I played for Nationals on Sunday. I haven't really had time to go into detail as far as what I played or actually what I could do at the event, because I didn't have a chance to record any of the profiles live or have a camera with me because my phone unfortunately did break on me. But I will be able to go ahead and show you guys what I did play using Dueling Book, and I do have a few profiles that I was able to go ahead and gather by talking to a few of the guys, since we are a very tight-knit community here in DR. So let's get right into the profile. So let me just go ahead and get into my account. So I played pure Endymion. This is just one of the versions I was testing out, but this is the one that worked out for the most. I do have different names for the ones I use, and this was just the one I've been trying out on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, and then transferring it to Dueling Book to test it out in rank to see how it works out. And it did work out pretty well. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for me in the event. I did have a few bad beats, but that is part of the game, so we just have to go ahead and live with it and move on. So I will explain my deck choices in a moment, but just so you know, that I do want to let you guys know, I will post a rant later on as far as the time rules for Konami, because I do feel that is, how to put it, it's very frustrating as far as how they work. Not even the new confirmation rules, like with Mind Crush, for example, that they gave, can compare to how bad it is. But anyways, let's get right into the profile. So I'm running the one Abyss Actor Curtain Raiser and the one Amorphic Sloth. These are just two one-ofs. The Curtain Raiser is simply because it's not only a high scale, but it also can get itself out of the pendulum scale for a monster that you can go ahead and link into your Electromite. And Sloth is mainly there because not only is it a good low scale that can get rid of itself, but it's also something you can go ahead and bring out with the Hairy Axial in case you go ahead and need to get into anything else. I'm running 3 Chronograph and the 1 Time Gazer, obviously, E for the combo, 1 Destrudo, 3 Mighty Master. I want to go, since I'm running the pure version, I want to go ahead and get as many negates out as fast as possible. So having 3 of this, also allowing me to get a high scale, really does help out. I'm running 2 Magical Abductor. Since it does hold spell counters, I can always bounce it back with Mighty Master, and I can also go ahead and put counters on it and use the counters from Citadel also go ahead and use this effect. So it also allows me to make sure I have a high scale available, or just to go ahead and go into any of the other plays I'm looking into. As a last resort for future events, I may consider using Droll Lockbird and Effect Veiler because of its monster effect that allows me to go ahead and remove 3 spell counters from that card and go ahead and add a level 1 spellcaster, which Effect Veiler and Droll Lock both fit the category for. I'm running 1 Garuda. I was considering running 2. I actually cut this down to 1 because of the fact is I wanted starter cards, and having this turn 1 is just the maximum of disruption and doesn't really help into any of my combos. And also playing second, this does help out by taking out 1 card from the back row as a worry, but apart from that, not really much as far as helping go into any combo, so that's why I have it down to 1. 2 Jackal King, considering running this at 3 because of the monster negates, and not only that, it does generate spell counters as fast as possible. Master Cerberus helps me search out Jackal King and Garuda through, so it allows me to go ahead and go through my deck. And its monster effect does come up every once in a while, where you can remove a monster and adding its own attack to your Master Cerberus. But It's mainly just used as a link to link off into Electromite. Obviously 3 Servant, one of your main starter cards for the deck. So in my opinion, if I cannot start off with Servant, I like to go ahead and get into Magical Abductor, simply for the fact is it helps me go into any of the other cards that I'm missing. Next we're going to the 2 Supreme King Dragon Darkworm. I figured I'd just run 2 since the fact is I can dump it off with Electromite pretty easily. I have 2 ways of dumping it from my deck, not including the Mythical Bestiary, which I have occasionally just milled it off. So that's those options. I am considering bumping it back up to 3 and taking out the Curtain Raiser. This Curtain Raiser doesn't really come up as much as the Darkworm, but that still has to be tested out. The 1 Supreme Gate 0, obviously the search card for Darkworm, and also is a scale that you can pop off, and it helps out that it's a 0 scale, so it doesn't really matter what you have along with it as long as it's a high scale. Next, 3 Call by the Grave. I really didn't want to be interrupted turn 1. I've had this at 2 and I bumped up to 3 because I want to make sure that my first turn combos don't get interrupted. But at the same time, I'm considering bringing it back down to 2 because I don't want to see it too often. Because I do like to see it turn 1 to make sure my plays can go through. But at the same time, I don't want to go ahead and risk the fact that I draw like 2 copies of it and I don't have enough combo pieces to go into my combos and setting up a turn 1 that my opponent will have a tough time dealing with. The 1 Dragon Shrine and Foolish Burial, self-explanatory. Get Darkworm in the grave as fast as possible, and as an emergency, get Destruder in the grave. I am running 2 Citadel of Endymion. 2 Citadel is mainly for the spell counters. I'm not running any of the other spell counter generators because of the fact is I don't need them. Because I do have Bestiary, which I'm running 3 of, because not only does this help me get 3 counters on any card, specifically Servant and Abductor, but this also helps me go into any of my other plays that I'm looking forward to. And also, the fact is that since this card, if this fighting chest gets negated and destroyed by my opponent, or I can even chain it like Artifact Sanctum, not only will I get the counters, but I get to bring a monster on my deck with 2 counters on it. 2 Desire, self-explanatory. Just an extra draw power. And 3 Spell Power Mastery. This is actually a card that has an interesting interaction with Bestiary, because I don't actually mind milling it. I would actually wouldn't mind having 1 Mastery in the grave when I activate Bestiary if I have another one in hand, or draw into another one, because of the fact is it gets not only gets me a search, but it also gets me to the point where if I have a card that takes spell counters, it goes into 3 right away. 1 Terraforming for the Citadel. Considering it bumping up to 2, but I'm still debating it because of the side deck options that I may be making in the future. And the 1 Upstart because I'm just going to play 39 cards. Next, I'm going to go straight to the side deck. 3 Lancia. I hate the Orcus matchup. That's the main reason why it's in there. It does help against Thunder Dragons, but I just really hate Orcus. 2 Denko. Did help, but honestly, I would bump it up to 3 because there's 1 card in my side deck that I am really considering taking out because of how the heavy burden for normal summons in my side deck are, and how much my normal summon does matter to me in my main deck as far as making sure that I go off into any plays. Next, we're going to go with 2 Pancratops. Also another card I'm considering bumping up because it is a good way of just starting out, making sure I get to get rid of a card like Anti-Spell, and it doesn't hurt me in time. Next, 2 Lava Golem. Decided Lava Golem over Sphere Mode because Sphere Mode is such a threat in this meta that people are sometimes playing cautiously over it, and so they would rather just leave 2 monsters to make sure you can't spear mode them. And so I've actually used this a lot in the Nationals. Unfortunately, didn't get as many wins as I expected, but it did help out. 2 Vanity's Fiend. This is actually the card I'm considering taking out, because my normal summon, like I said, is very important to my combo. In case that I don't have, like, say, Chrono and Curtain Razor, as an example, or Chrono and a Servant with 3 counters. My normal summon will be important because I usually go for Dark Worm or Magical Abductor or Time Gazer if I did draw it. So that's the reason why I'm thinking about taking out the card. But this mainly was for Thunder Dragons. Unfortunately, I didn't see any during the day, but it is still a card to consider. 3 Cosmic Cyclone. I ran this over Mystical Space Typhoon, mainly because the fact is I couldn't really deal with having cards that have effects when they're blown up. So, especially against the True Draco matchup, I would rather just go ahead and get rid of their cards by removing them. And it also helps as far as getting rid of Mystic Mine. But I mainly went for the Denkos instead of that because Mystic Mine, I could just generate counters as much as possible. But it is a card to go ahead and consider. And the last card, Secret Village of the Spellcasters. Only ran 1 because honestly the Sky Striker matchup really didn't bother me. However, since I am running a ton of Spellcasters, if a deck does depend on your spells, I just decided I'm just going to go ahead and screw them over. Next, getting into my extra deck. 1 Triple Burst Dragon. This is mainly for the Guard Dragon combo. Same thing with the Hieratic Seal. Next we have 1 Electromite. First combo card of the deck. Pretty much the best extra deck card in my opinion, because it not only helps you enable plays, but it also makes sure that you are going to go ahead and get into any of your plays right away, because it lets you draw a card and send a card from your deck to your extra deck, which most likely will be the missing combo piece. Next we have the 1 nwyrkrb. Pretty much the best combo in the deck involves these 2 cards, so I wouldn't take them out, and nor would I recommend taking them out. The 1 Daybreaker. Only summoned it once. However, I would only go into this mainly for the spell counters, so I can link off into Mighty Master. But that's just me. Next, the 1 Borreload. In case I ran into anything like a Mighty Master, this was just the out I had for it. 1 Rise Flare Metal Dragon, because I can't summon off because I can't summon off the Guard Dragon combo, and heading into time, my theory was I'm just going to go ahead and plant this, and they have to go ahead and get rid of this or risk losing the game. When this will be beyond, this card is pretty much one of the best just in case cards of the deck, because let's say for example you have a Chrono on the field and you have a Jackal, and you just really want to push for game. Against Salamangreat, if you have a Denko on field, they have no choice but to go ahead and save a card with the Phalanx. This unfortunately doesn't negate the effect, but it does allow you to go ahead and do 3k damage on them, which is pretty good. Next, the other just in case card is Abyss Dweller. Didn't get a chance to make it. I'm going to be very honest in that. You do have the opportunity to make it, but in my opinion, it's not really necessary. I am considering taking this card out for another, or let's say just in case piece, or another piece I want to go ahead and go into the Guard Dragon combo with. but that's still for the debate. The one Ignister, where Pendulum deck, why wouldn't you run it? Next, Dawn Dragster. This is just my extender play. So for example, if I still have a monster on the board after the Guard Dragon combo, I will just go into the Shooter and make Dawn Dragster right away. As long as it's not a monster that has much importance like Jackal. Because Jackal is a monster negate, so I would rather keep the Jackal than make a Dawn Dragster. Unless I'm going against Mystic Mind, where it really doesn't matter. I'm just going to go ahead and get this on the field as fast as possible, even if I already have a negate for monsters, since they don't run monsters. And on a side note, Jackal King is actually very useful in the matchup against Mystic Mind, because these two effects for Jackal, Omes Cerberus, and Garuda, their monster effects, the part where they place 2 spell counters, that is actually continuous. So it just gets placed onto them. And that actually helps you go into the Endymion play a lot better. One Black Rose, in case you ever needed to nuke the board, destroys a card that's in your deck. And I have threatened this, and it's actually provoked a lot of negations. But again, it's also a card that I really do like in the extra deck, because the fact is you do get to go ahead and toy with your opponent as far as forcing them to go ahead and try to negate anything. Next, Arcanite Magician, probably the card I went into most, apart from the Dawn Dragster, because the fact is Arcanite Magician helps me blow up cards. And not only that, it doesn't matter where you take the spell counters from. It just says remove spell counter from the field. It doesn't say from itself. So I can take it off of Citadel, I can take it off of Mighty Master, since Mighty Master doesn't have an on-field effect apart from bouncing itself off and gaining the counters. So I can just go ahead and start removing counters off of Mighty Master and leaving it down to 1. To pop up as many cards in the field as possible. And obviously the Vortex Dragon. Vortex is hands down the best card in the extra deck, because it is the Omni Negate. I have considered taking out the Abyss Dweller and the Daybreaker for just going ahead and making sure to run an Odd Ice Fusion, make sure I get the Vortex out as fast as possible, but that's still for the debate. I'll still consider it, but I'm not going to guarantee running it. Anyways, that's the deck profile. I do want to thank you guys for looking into the video, and I hope you guys can go ahead and feel free to leave down any comments down below as far as what would you change to the deck as far as the pure variant, and what would you go ahead and like to see for any future profiles. I will be uploading later on the profiles for some of the tops over at the Nationals, so I really do hope you guys leave a thumbs up and like the video, and subscribe for more content. Anyways, see ya!